All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 409 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. Today, we're going to jump back into some Atlanta Falcons stuff. We're going to talk about the depth chart, give you my thoughts and opinions on what's lined up for the team going into preseason. Because, yes, they're going to be playing the game at the end of the week. You know, Friday is basically game day for the Falcons. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to watch the game, give you my thoughts and opinions, probably do an extra episode maybe that Saturday, so be on the lookout for that. That's not set in stone, but that may be the ideal situation once I look at the game, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions. Due to time restraints and other things I have to do, I may not be able to do one right after the game. And on top of that, I want to give a real assessment of what I see. So I don't want to give out a situation where I'm giving you initial thoughts as soon as the game is over. I want to really evaluate the talent we have. So, but with that being said, we're going to evaluate this depth chart that we have and see what's going to be lined up for the game. Maybe things will change between now and then because now it's Wednesday, then Friday is going to be coming up, so it's going to be a little bit different. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. Once again, I am VF Baller. We talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. I could be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also, I am on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. So if you want to listen to the audio side, the avenue is there, as well as the visual side. So hopefully you guys will continue to support. And if it's your first time here, hope you jump on the bandwagon and support. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. The Falcons are in a big transition. We already know what's going on with the Falcons. New coach. Pretty much, you can still say new. Second year as coach, did some pretty good things with the roster that he had. Won 7 games. Now there's a lot of turnover that's going into the next year with a lot of 1-year deals. A lot of situations going on where players are actually fighting for positions, fighting for contracts, because like I said, a lot of these guys that are 1-year deals are probably going to be looking for a bigger contract down the road. Looking at the cap space that we may have next year after the dead cap space is gone, we're going to be really looking at signing some guys. And it's going to be really, really interesting to see who does what throughout the season, let alone what we're going to win, what games we're going to win, what games we're going to lose. So it all starts at preseason. You really see what's on the field, and you get an assessment of who may make the team, who will not. Some guys may stand out, some may not. So what we're going to do here, we're going to look at the first depth chart that has been released by the Falcons. It's on AtlantaFalcons.com. I will have the link down in the description so you can check that out. And let's go ahead and assess what we see here. And from the things I've seen, it's going to be pretty interesting to see, what's going on here. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so it's on the screen if you're watching this on the visual side of things, YouTube or Rumble. You can see it. If not, if you're listening to the audio, you can follow along. I will give you an assessment of what we're looking at right here. The first thing that stands out to me is the first thing that's on the list is the wide receiver position. Outside, it looks like it's going to be Kadero Hodge. It's going to be the starter in the preseason, which is really interesting because I've heard some rumblings about Kadero Hodge. He's been doing pretty well doing the training camps or whatever, but when you usually see things like this, it's basically going to be what we got in this guy. We're going to let him go with the first reps of the preseason. We're going to let him get out there and see what he has. So with him, and on the other side, we have Zacchaeus. So that's pretty much, pretty standard for the starters. You don't see too many people starting, like your star players starting. You want to see the first team out there. But when you want to get some assessment of certain players or certain things that you would like to see, you want to see those guys go out there and do some things. Geronimo Allison is the backup to Kadero Hodge and Damian Byrd. Auden Tate and Drake London are the reserves. So with that being said, Drake London is probably not going to get that much playing time in this game. He's that far back on the reserves, which is understandable. I mean, he's the number 8 overall pick. You kind of know what you got with him already. There's already been some people saying they had a case of the drops throughout training camp, which I don't know how how official word that is, or how much weight that carries. But nevertheless, he's probably not going to be playing that much if he's that far back on the reserves. Now, once again, this stuff can change. Now, Kyle Pitts, he's the first on the tight end list, on tight end number 1, which is obvious. Now, what I would like to see Felipe Franks be tight end 1. I want to see him get more reps in real game time. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but nevertheless, he's still a quarterback as well, so you don't know how that's going to play out. Anthony Fursker is also number 2. Then on the offensive line, you got Jake Matthews, Elijah Wilkinson, Hennessy or Drew Dahlman is going to be the center, which is pretty much going to be a battle right there. Jalen Mayfield at left guard look like he's have a back issue, so watch Justin Schaefer. Watch him. He could get some playing time and may make some moves. Chris Lindstrom. Pretty much Chris Lindstrom is probably like the anchor, the guy that's him and Jake Matthews. I think those two guys are the ones that are not going to be going anywhere for the most part. So Colby Cassett and Jonathan Harrison is behind him. Caleb McGarry is there's a lot of question marks around Caleb McGarry right now. So Afedi and Vrabel is on his heels, in my opinion. I don't know for certain, but he's on his heels. They're on his heels. Now the other tight end on the other side, you got Parker Hess. Michael Pruitt, I think he was just signed recently, so that's really interesting for him to be signed, and he's already right behind Parker Hess. And you got John Fitzpatrick and Tucker Fisk. Fitzpatrick is another one you may want to watch. I don't expect him to do too much out there when it comes to actually running on offense. I'll see him doing a lot of other things outside of that. Now, on the other side of the wide receiver position, you have Olamide Zaccheaus, Brian Edwards, which is really interesting that he's right behind Zaccheaus because he's already established for the most part. I would think that he'd be back there in the reserves more than likely, but nevertheless, Frank Darby is right behind him. You got Basin, Berryhill, and Bernhardt. I would like to see Bernhardt more on special teams. This kid is fast. I know he can catch a little bit, but I would like to see him do some kick returns. This kid has some serious speed. Berryhill and Basin, I would like to see them do some things a little bit more down the road. It's kind of interesting for them to be that far back on the depth chart this early in preseason. This is one of the situations where you want to see those guys do something right away. Just to see what they have. Running backs, Cordell Patterson is a quarterback. He's running backs. Cordell Patterson is RB1. Behind Damian Williams and Keith Smith, you got Quadri Allison, Caleb Hunt, Avery Williams, John Ray, and Tyler Algiers all the way back here. That is, I want to say that's a little troubling, but I'm not really sure. Like I said, this is the first depth chart of 2020. So we don't know what we really have here. I would like to see him up a little bit more, but with Cordell Patterson and Dame Williams 1 and 2, it's not a bad problem to have. I just got finished talking about Kareem Hunt, which I think Kareem Hunt, if he was to be signed here, I think it would be, easily he'd be running back number 1 in my opinion. He'd be RB1, but these things with these trades going on right now, we don't know. The Browns say they're not looking, which I think that's a lie. They're just saying that because they don't want it to cause turmoil. If the right price comes up, Kareem Hunt will be gone. Same thing with Roquan Smith. They did him kind of weird with the whole situation with this contract negotiations. I would like to see him as a Falcon, but I don't see it. I thought about it at one point, but the way things are going money-wise, it's just not going to work. So I don't expect that as well. But let's get back on track here. We still have a pretty good situation at running back. Keith Smith, I don't see him being running back material. I see him being a fullback. So you basically have Patterson, Williams, and Allison right now. Avery Williams is probably going to be on special teams. I would like to see him and Bernhardt together on special teams, but that's what we're looking like right now. Tyler Algier, got to see how that goes. Maybe the second or third week of preseason, we'll see how that changes. But like I said, this is very early. This is not set in stone. A lot of this stuff will change by the time the season starts. Once again, Tyler Algier could be in a situation like with Drake London. Put him on the back burner. Don't use him as much and have him ready by week 1. Marcus Mariota is QB1, Desmond Ridder, and Felipe Franks. I would like to see this switched. I know Marcus Mariota is probably going to take the first couple of snaps, probably the first quarter, but I would like to see a lot more of Desmond Ridder. I would like to see a lot of him throughout the preseason. I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he's capable of. Felipe Franks, gadget player at quarterback. I don't see him doing too much, but I really want to see what Desmond Ridder does. Defensively, let's jump over here. Grady Jarrett and Anthony Rush, Taquan Graham, the 3 down linemen. I don't have a problem here. I want to see what Marlon Davidson can do. I really want to see him because he's been up and down, but he seems like he's determined to do something. So I want to see Marlon Davidson. Abdullah Anderson was just signed. Darian Daniels is another one that was just signed. So it'd be interesting to see if they get any playing time. But Taquan Graham, Marlon Davidson, these 2 guys, mostly Marlon Davidson, are the 2 guys that I want to see a lot of. I want to see a lot of these guys on the field throughout the preseason. Ogundeji on the outside, I have no problem with that. Him and Arnold Ebiketie are the ones that's pretty much that's a position battle right here. This is a position battle, and this is a good one to have. It doesn't matter to me who's going to be outside linebacker 1 on either side. These guys are going to be rotated out a lot. So it's going to be pretty much like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Linebacker Michael Walker is the first guy along with Rashaan Evans. I saw the Rashaan Evans situation. I saw that was going to be a given. Him and Lorenzo Carter, those 2 is going to be a given. What is sticking out to me once again is this right here. This whole situation with Troy Anderson and D'Angelo Malone. I look at this similar to the situation with Drake London and Tyler Algier. You kind of know what you're going to use them for. No need to throw them out there right away. You just want to see what the other talent can do right now. As far as Nathan Landman, which is actually interesting that he's ahead of Troy Anderson. I said Nathan Landman could be a absolute steal, mostly on special teams because of what he's done at Colorado. I would like to see him do some things as well. It's going to be interesting to see where he falls in during preseason. Dorian Etheridge has always been, I ain't gonna say always, but he's been fairly reliable. Want to see what he does. Nick Kielkowski has another guy that's actually reliable, veteran. So this whole linebacker situation is actually much better than I advertised. You look at all of these guys right here. All of these guys. From Ogundeji down to Malone. This is a lot of talent here. This is a lot of talent right here. So, the Roquan Smith thing sounded good, and I made a talk about it on Twitter earlier today. But in the reality of it, this is good right here. Now we look at the cornerback situation. What can you say? Casey Hayward and AJ Terrell. That's a given. I don't know much about Cornell Armstrong, but it'd be interesting to see what he does. Darren Hall. Good to see what he will do as well. Matt Hankins, I'm actually surprised he's still on the team. I thought the other guy from Michigan was going to be on the team, but Matt Hankins is good enough to stay back here on the reserve. It looks like he's in the same position where Algier, Drake London, and D'Angelo Malone, Troy Anderson. So to kind of know, one thing about I want to say this. One thing about Arthur Smith, he likes to bring rookies in and build them up. That's one of the big things that he's talking about first year with Kyle Pitts and company. So we're going to see what these guys are going to be able to do. It's going to be really interesting. The safeties, Richie Grant is taking the lead over Eric Harris, which is something that we actually thought that was going to happen. I thought Richie Grant was going to take that leap in year 2. I thought it was going to happen pretty much, I just thought it was going to be a foregone conclusion. I thought it was going to happen. And with him and Jalen Hawkins at safety, it's going to be really interesting. Both of these guys can play some ball. Richie Grant has been doing pretty good throughout training camp. Jalen Hawkins has been making a name for himself as well. Somebody else you might want to look out for is Teez Tabor. He's been playing pretty good against Kyle Pitts throughout this whole preseason, off season and throughout the training camp. So that's another name you want to look out for. I'm not too worried about Isaiah Oliver right here for the most part. He's pretty much established. And so for him to see what he can do out there is not too much of a big deal. So these guys are going to get playing time sometime down the road throughout the preseason, probably later on in the game. So it's going to be really interesting to see where these guys look at on the depth chart. Now, once again, like I said, this depth chart is pretty much, it's fluid. It's going to move around a lot. There's nothing here that's set in stone. So what you see here is the guys are going to be playing probably the first couple of reps, probably half a quarter, the whole quarter. And then you're going to see a lot of these guys who are in the back are probably going to be moving up to the front to get some more playing time. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see TZ Tabo or Isaiah Oliver out there later. A situation where Nathan Landman gets some playing time. So special teams, this is basically what you have here. Young Wei Koo, obviously Bradley Pinion. Seth Vernon is the backup punter. Long snapper, McCullough. The holder, Pinion again, and the kickoff and punt return is Avery Williams. Just like I said, Avery Williams has been doing pretty good there, but I would like to see Bernhardt back there as well. I think I said that earlier. I would like to see Avery Williams and Bernhardt back there do some things. So at the end of the day, this is what we got. This is not a bad look at all by any means. I think this looks really good. Nice setup for the offense and defense as far as the preseason depth chart. Before I go out, before I finish, before I close, I will say this. What I want to see, honestly, when it comes to receivers, let's run this down real quick. I really want to see what Alden Tate can do. I really want to see on the other side of the receivers. I want to see what Frank Darby can do. I really want to see what Tyler Vrabel could do on the offensive line. Running backs, I'm pretty good with where this is right now. I don't expect none of this to change. I want to see Felipe Franks play a little bit more tight end as well. Defensively, I do want to see what Daniels and Abdullah and Marlon Davidson can do. But I think we're going to see more of that because Taquan Graham and Davidson is pretty much a position battle. Arnold Ebiketie and Ogundeji position battle. We're going to see some of that. I want to see what Nathan Landman can do. Because all these linebackers they're going to be rotated in and out. So I want to see what they can do as well. All of them. So there's not one person I'm going to point out right there. Maybe if I had to pick would be Landman. As far as cornerbacks go, I want to see what Matt Hankins could do, but I doubt if he's getting any playing time. He's this far back on the depth chart. But if anybody, it'd be Teez Tabor because he's been looking pretty good in training camp. So that's going to be something I would like to see. And last but not least, I would like to see more of Jared Bernhardt on special teams. I doubt if that'll happen, but with him with all that speed, I would like to see that. So that's pretty much it for that whole situation with this depth chart. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Give me some feedback what you guys think about it in the comment section on YouTube or Rumble. Even give me some feedback on the podcast avenues. If you like this content, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Atlanta Falcons preseason, man, football is on the way. It'll be here, this weekend, and it's going to be really interesting to see what the Falcons will be able to do, especially with this depth chart and what they got in store. Like I said, I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Also be on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Before I go, I want to say this as well. Go check out the Discord. The Discord is on fire right now. People are coming over to the Discord, talking their opinions about Georgia Southern, and we need to get some more Atlanta Falcons fans over there. We just want to be able to chop it up with each other and give our opinions and thoughts on all of our teams. And it's just a good time over there. Let everybody know what we're doing over here. Send the link to our anybody who may not know. Send the link to people, to our rivals. Let them know as well. And if you want to donate all that stuff, all the information is down in the comment section or in the description of the podcast avenue. All right, y'all. I will see you guys on Thursday. Man, thank you guys for supporting, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.